Hi lovely peeps. I thought it would be a good idea to show you some different ideas for some beginners decks. If you've been using the Rider-Waite-Smith, which is obviously the one that I would suggest for my tarot classes, so it's likely, you know, if you know me, that you've got this or a version of this anyway. I wanted to show you a few options for sort of getting a different deck with a different vibe, but one that is similar visually so you can still read with it. So obviously this is the Rider-Waite-Smith. I'm going to leave those there. Okay, where to start? I've got 5 options. Since we're moving into autumn, let's start with this one. This is the Thorn by Stephanie Burrows and Adam Ohlers. I've got a flip through of this on my YouTube already, but this is pretty much a Rider-Waite-Smith style deck. It comes with these cute little cards with some keywords on them. And this fabulous back, which is just beautiful. And yeah, so this is a nice option, especially if you're into animals. The reason I liked this one is because all of the animals in the deck are, I suppose, familiar to me as someone from the UK. And these are all creatures that we see all the time in the country. So as far as animal work goes, I've not really been big into animal decks because I struggle with some of the connections with them, and then when you start going off into dragons and things like that, I'm just lost. So it's not that I don't appreciate them, I just can't work with them very well. So as you can see, the Hangman, he's holding on, he's taken himself up for a higher perspective to gain a new perspective or take higher ground. They're still very readable cards. The Hierophant, the key to knowledge, hanging from his mouth, the Queen of Cups in this water. You can see she's in the water, she's got her cup as the acorn. They're all quite, there's not too much, what's the word I'm looking for here? Oh, it's got escaped my mind. There's not too much of the making the animals to be, you know, humanizing of the animals. There's a little bit, but not much. Sorry, that took me way longer than it should have done. So the Fool, he's got his wand, he's following the butterfly, he's got his little bag, he's ready. He's in the dark forest, so it might not be safe. I'm just going to put these down here. But this is a lovely deck with a bit of a different vibe. Obviously more of a natural scene throughout everything, which might be a change for you if you're considering, you know, things like this in the Rider-Waite-Smith of them being in a man-made or natural environment. This might be a different check-in for you, but this is just a beautiful deck and I absolutely adore it. I'm a big rabbit lover as well. In fact, I love the squirrels. I'm a big crow person. It's got all of my animals in it that I absolutely love. So I think the swords are all crows, the cups are all squirrels, the coins are all rabbits. What are we missing? The wands are all foxes. There you go. So, and you do see some repetition as well. So you'll see the where's that Fool? The deer. You'll see the deer progress throughout the deck, or throughout the mages, at least. The High Priestess look beautiful. So you know, the 8 of Swords being surrounded by potential danger, not being able to see, but you could easily release yourself from it. The fact that, you know, the crow is still in water, there's still the elemental, the pulling in of the elemental suits in all of them. So that is one option that I highly recommend. This is actually a card that didn't come in the deck, it came with it as a gift. But I love it because the Three Trees Tarot, the people that made this deck, have also done another deck which is very similar, but it's all with dragons and I don't know what else. I think it's mainly dragons, I'm not sure. I didn't get it because I'm not a dragon person, but it's still a cool deck, and the fact that there's possibilities and they're all joining together and, you know, helping each other, I suppose. I love this, look. Oh, so beautiful. I was actually lucky enough to see a squirrel climb up the tree and jump from tree to tree over our heads in the woodlands the other day when we went for a walk, and she was carrying her baby. Oh my goodness, we all just stopped and stared and held our breath as they jumped through the trees. So yeah, have a look at that because that's a really beautiful one. As I said, there's a flip through on the channel. Let me just move these out the way. Okay. Next. Okay, so obviously these are all very different depending on what you're into. The Fountain Tarot. This is a very lovely deck if you like a softer vibe. They're not that expensive either. I'm not bringing out expensive decks for this because, as I said, if you're beginning and you're still a little bit unsure, or you just want to build your collection and work with different things, you don't want to be given, you know, out of print things. So yeah, this is a different energy entirely. For me, this is a lot more of an air deck, whereas the Oak, Ash and Thorn is a bit more of an earthy deck. This is a lot more air. They're still relevant, so with this one I quite like this one because if it's upside down, you potentially the swords could fall out of the man's back. But just beautiful soft muted tones. Again, a lot of play with the elements. If there's water involved, it's there. If there's earth involved, there's like hints to it. They are abstract, but there's hints to it. The swords have a lot of rainbows in them. I don't know what that's about. I'm assuming it'll be written up in the book. Again, this rainbow sort of colour. I suppose pulling together different threads, different mindsets. It's really windy today here. Sorry, I was just looking out the window because the trees are going absolutely nuts outside. The star, beautiful. So you still get this sort of energy of, that you would have. Do we have a 7 here? In the Rider-Waite-Smith, it's quite similar, it's quite familiar. 5 of coins. The moving away with the swords, obviously presented differently, but you can still get it, is my point. The Nightmare card, look at that. So that's another one, the Fountain Tarot. I love these pops of really bright colour in a deck that's otherwise quite muted and pastels. Really pretty. The other thing that I like about this deck, shown here, is when I teach the numerology, I usually reference the stability of a square and the fact that the Emperor is, you know, holding a square on top of a square, or a cube in this case. It really, you know, the cube has 6 sides, 9 points, I think, I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a lot of play, there's a lot of numerological references that you can involve with this. The tower, again, having that solid foundation. It's really well done. So, the Fountain Tarot. Oh, it's also got pretty gilded edges, look at that, pretty. Which I sort of like, but I don't really like how they treat my hands. I find them quite aggressive on my hands. Not sharp, just tough. So that's the Fountain Tarot. Let me just sort myself out here. Okay, the next one, the Light Seers. by Krisan. This went massive. This was one of those viral decks that was just everywhere. The colours in it are absolutely beautiful. Absolutely stunning. So this is obviously an illustrated deck. There's runes, you know, there's other things. There are other depictions, weavings. This is a bit more, this has got a lot more, I suppose, symbology and iconography that you can level up with. But the colours so vibrant and very human. There's a lot of people in this deck. The Tower, saying that as she pulls the animal card, look. Excuse me. Yeah, a lot of people. The Nine of Swords again. With the crows causing this. I mean, if you put them, you can. I suppose it's easier to relate to people cards because you can put yourselves in the position of the people and try and get an understanding of what's happening. The Wheel, the Lovers. I mean, I must say the courts aren't my favourite in this deck, but I think the courts is a very personal thing, depending on how you read with them. So again, this is the Light Seers by Krisan. Krisan also has the Muse Tarot, which is also brilliant, but it's not a beginner's deck. It definitely is for people that are, you know, have leveled up a little bit already and looking to evolve their practice. Ooh. Two of Cups, beautiful. Okay, so that is the Light Seers. I've edged my decks. The ones I like, I tend to edge. Beautiful backs as well. I didn't show you those. Okay, what next? The Santa Muerte. So this is obviously a darker deck based around Santa Muerte, the goddess of death. Santa Muerte is, I suppose, the what's the word I'm looking for? Latino. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. The Latino version of the Grim Reaper that we would have over here. She's not to be confused with the Day of the Dead, Dia de Muerto iconography. She's not the Sugar Skull goddess. She is the goddess of death. She is usually represented as a skeleton or, you know, death itself, and her job, I suppose, is to take people to the other side, to the underworld, or to help them cross over. She's massively prayed to by those who aren't or don't practice religion, because she doesn't judge. There's a no judgment clause in her, I suppose, spiritual practice. So this is, you know, a darker deck. There's a lot of skulls in it. There's a lot of skeletons in it. However, the depictions in this are really, really good as far as being able to visually see what's going on in the deck and being able to pull, I suppose, references if you've worked with the Rider-Waite-Smith as well. I really also like the minor arcana definitions in this deck. So the Nine of Pentacles. This is a little less Rider-Waite-Smith, but the general meanings are very similar. Queen of Pentacles, the Sun. I love the Hierophant. Oh my goodness. Will it focus? No, I've got autofocus off. The Four of Pentacles. Is she helping or is she not? You know, the question is still there. The Three of Swords, there's literally two swords going through this other skeleton. He's holding the other one. It's very, the Tower, oh my goodness. The Tower is a big card. It's Labyrinth, isn't it? With David Bowie. It's all, turns all which way. Very confusing. Queen of Cups, the Chariot, the Two of Wands, which I love. Making a decision or preparing, you know. The Three of Pentacles, about growth and nurturing what you need to grow, thinking about the seeds that you're sowing and what you can do to energize, you know, whatever the energies that you're working with, I suppose. Really, really nice depictions that are easy to read if you look at the card enough. The Two of Cups, how beautiful. As I said though, a lot of skulls, if you're not a skull person, I'm not particularly a skull person, but for me the way they're depicted in this are all, they're not really offensive. The 10s are all a butterfly with a different body part, which is interesting, relating to, obviously, you know, we've got the hip bones here for the wands, which is like the passion, the root chakra. We've got the lungs for the air suit. Again, cleverly done. I think, I mean, there aren't many tarot decks that aren't clever, are they? So much work goes into them. Yeah, so I'll just flick through them quickly. Again, really colourful. And quite a people-based deck, even though obviously they're all skeletons, but so Santa Muerte Tarot by Fabio Listrani. I think this is a Lo Scarabeo. Yeah, Lo Scarabeo deck. Okay, and the last one, I suppose, if you have ever practiced witchcraft or Wicca practices, the Green Witch Tarot. It's not my favourite imagery, but it's a good, I've also backed this deck, so I can't show you the backing of it, but it's not my favourite imagery. It's a little bit, I suppose, cartoony for me. Let's see if I can focus this, guys.
Playing from MacBook Pro.
Sorry. Okay. So, yeah, but it's an easy reader. So the Two of Chalices, Ten of Pentacles with the whole family there, the Star, the Page, Six of Athames, so Swords of Athames, the Lord of Shadows. There's Death, how beautiful. Six of Wands, the World Tree with the snake, and the Heron. But if we flick through, I mean, if you, as I said, if you've got knowledge of working with the elements from a Wiccan perspective or a witchcraft perspective, you will definitely be able to read with this deck. Even if you don't, I think it's pretty easy. It's not a difficult read. The Oak King as the Hanged Man. So obviously we have the Oak King and the Holly King, and they switch places around the spring and the autumn equinox. So the Holly King takes over for winter, the Oak King takes over for summer. So there's all these references, the Wheel of Life, Wheel of the Year, which obviously we follow in the circle. The wands, look, for the well, the wands are the wands, but different kind of wand, I suppose. She's calling in the quarters. Look, the Lady and the Lord. So yeah, there are a few name changes, but nothing too difficult that you can't make sense of. The Sun, beautiful. the moon. That's gorgeous. Don't know if it's because I'm just embracing autumn, but that is a gorgeous card. Beautiful colours. Nature instead of the devil, which is very relevant to the current Kali Ma workings we're doing at the moment. The horned god. This is somewhat, I suppose, similar to the Dreams of Gaia tarot. However, this I would put down as a beginner's deck. The Dreams of Gaia I most definitely would not put down as a beginner's deck. Unless you're learning with that one from the word go. Green Man as the Fool. The Standing Stone. That's amazing. Love that. I haven't picked this one up for a while, so I'm sort of reviewing it myself again. So they are the 5 beginners decks that I would recommend. There are way more. I mean, if you are looking for another beginners deck, one of the easy ways to do it is just to put in Rider-Waite-Smith style decks, and you'll generally come up with all different things that are similar or based on the meanings of the Rider-Waite-Smith, but in their own way, in their own style. For instance, I think it's even written on this, an eco-friendly, this is the Oak, Ash and Thorn again, Rider-Waite-Smith inspired art deck. So if that's where you're coming from, if that's where you're learning, how you're learning, then these decks, oh, missing the Phantom Tarot, sorry. These are the decks for you, or the ones that I have, that I've used and that I can recommend from my own practice and my own perspective. I hope you found this helpful, and let me know if you have any other options. Like, leave them in the comments for people, because it would be good to get a little list going. Thanks so much. I hope you're all well, and I look forward to seeing you soon.